like it? And how did everyone look? Are we stealing stuff from it? Is it problematic? It's Brunch Movie Reviews.
Green Book, one of the Best Picture nominees, easily the most controversial. A lot of people just straight up won't see it, so we'll review it so people can at least maybe know one or two things about it.
Yeah, I think I have a different opinion. I think the most controversial is Bohemian Rhapsody because that movie sucks.
That's not controversial, though. Like, people...
In my mind, it is.
It's... okay, but... Bohemian Rhapsody, really bad. I understand that take, but like there are not enough articles written about how bad Bohemian Rhapsody is. There are articles written about Green Book by people who haven't even seen the movie.
Fair enough.
Let's get into it. It's about a racist Italian guy in the 60s who is hired to drive Doc Shirley through his tour of the South, and they have to maneuver all sorts of racial issues, including the fact that, again, this guy, played by Viggo, is racist. Doc Shirley is played by Mahershala Ali. Both of them give, I think, outstanding performances. Did we like it out of 4? I gave it a 3.
A 3?
Yeah.
That's not bad. That sounds about right because when I talked to you, it sounded like you liked it a little bit more than I did. I didn't dislike it, but I thought that it was maybe a bit oversold. And I will say that with the caveat that I saw it later than most people.
Okay.
So I gave it a 2.8.
So basically my notes on that were, it wasn't an entirely accurate movie, but it's important that it did the inspired by rather than the based on thing. So I was, I guess, more okay with some of the liberties that it took.
I didn't understand. I didn't know the story at all.
Yeah,
heading into it, so that has
me neither.
No bearing on my.
Well,
rating.
as it turned out, Mahershala Ali didn't know the story at all because one of the main reasons everyone was so mad about this movie was because he did not consult the family of Doc Shirley to kind of find out how to play the character. Everyone will get to it, but everyone was mad about this movie for many different reasons. I thought the performances were incredible, and I'm not a big cry during the movies guy, but I think that they made Doc Shirley's character a hurt enough person that at the end when he showed up, knowing that knowing all these circumstances, but he just wanted company, it made me cry. So 3 out of 4.
Okay, 2.8. I said that it was an interesting but sort of predictable story. It was carried by very, very strong performances.
Yeah.
I thought that Mahershala Ali and Viggo Mortensen were both fantastic. And I just felt like it was a bit repetitive towards the middle and sort of endish.
Just as far as what?
The overall
they won't let you do this,
yeah,
they won't let you do that and everything. That is, and again, a lot of the people who have kind of waited on this movie haven't seen it. I at least felt like they did beat you over the head in this movie with how racist everything was. This was not...
It was sort of just
this was not a racial harmony movie.
No, definitely not. But I feel like just at a point I got to being all right, we get it. And I understand that I think that's the fucking story.
Right, you can't do that. I think there can't be enough of that. Yeah. How did everyone look? Out of 2?
Out of 2, I gave it a 2 out of 2.
I gave it a 1.9 out of 2. Mahershala Ali and Linda Cardellini are in it, so what do you think? Minus 0.1 because Viggo was gross. So, I know that's what he was supposed to look like.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Gross.
Yeah, man. I wrote down. Ready? Look at it. Look at here. Viggo looked gross, but that's the point.
Yes. Yeah.
He doesn't take care of himself, and I thought that him looking so gross served as a bonus to how everybody looks because it's a stark contrast between Mahershala Ali and Viggo because Mahershala Ali takes immaculate care of himself.
Oh yeah, he's so proper,
and and also I just think that was a very these people come from 2 different worlds sort of thing.
Are we stealing from stuff from it? Out of 2, I gave it a 1. So I'm gonna unfortunately I'm gonna steal being gross and eating too much from Viggo, but also I aspire to steal Mahershala's both his posture. He had incredible posture, and also his decor. He just has like lions and shit just like hanging around his apartment. I know I probably won't, but I would love to decorate my place like that.
Turtlenex, robes, and tuxes. Like Mahershala wore everything and made it all look great. Stealing stuff from it, I'm giving it a 0.5 out of 2. There's not a lot of stuff that I would steal. I would love to steal that car. It's a great car.
Cool car.
And I'd also like to steal Viggo's wife because it's Linda Cardellini.
Oh, that's very good.
And also I think it's a good idea to steal and not being racist.
What's that? To steal not being racist? Yeah. Well, Viggo, like 20% got there. Yeah. Is it problematic? Now, this is one where, depending on the type of movie, if it's like a drama, you don't want it to be problematic. So if you give it a high score, it means it wasn't problematic. If it's a comedy and it maybe makes a joke that you're like, hey, I didn't think they were going to make that joke. It worked more than it should have. Then you give it a higher score, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, these are all prestige movies. They're all Best Picture noms.
Yeah.
Like, if it's problematic, it's probably going to result in a lower score.
Right. So I gave it a 1.5 out of 2, which will surprise people because this is a very controversial movie. Hear me out. It is... The controversy surrounding this movie is that the director used to flash his penis at people.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Terrible.
Okay.
Dumb. Idiot. Mahershala and the director, everybody, didn't consult Doc Shirley's family. That was a bit controversial. And also Viggo, I think, during the press junket, said
the N-word.
So yeah, he said the N-word. He was talking about how he's glad he doesn't hear people he doesn't hear white people say the N-word anymore, but he didn't say the N-word. He actually said that word. So lot of like missteps, and I mean in the case of Farrelly for flashing people, just like
not great, just gross.
Idiot.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of people, including film critics, would not see this movie, and that is their prerogative. I totally support that. But for the film itself, I did not feel... I went into it, like, worried. Don't you go and tell me how, in whatever year it is, you solved racism. And fortunately, it did not do that. So the content of the film, you said there are a lot of scenes where you're shown more racism than, like, maybe you could stomach, but I think that's kind of the point.
Part of the movie, yeah.
So I give it a 1.5 because while the outside of the film is very controversial, I actually think that the film did a pretty okay job.
Yeah, in terms of like the actual content of the movie, I was surprised by how not problematic I found it. But there were like a few scenes that I was like, And the biggest one that came to mind for me was the fried chicken scene. I just felt like that was like a little too on the nose, I guess.
Get this, the white guy likes fried chicken and the black guy does not.
And like ultimately convinces him that like, hey, fried chicken is good. And it was just like, I felt like it would have been better had that scene sort of shown that not all stereotypes are like accurate, and then like later in the movie where the fried chicken comes up again, I think that would have been served as a better like showing Viggo like teaching him a lesson.
Yeah, I think that they use that because this is, while it's a white person and a black person, it's also a smart, intelligent, very classy person and a Neanderthal. Just like a gross dude. And the fried chicken scene was the scene that they kind of chose to have Doc Shirley give Viggo's character like a little bit of his approval. Like, okay, like I'll do whatever your stupid stuff is. I do wish they used
something else,
any other vehicle.
So, exactly. I that's all I'm trying to say. So I mean, other than that, and I get it where it's like it's one of those situations where it's hard as like a white person to be like, this movie is not problematic.
Of course.
And so it's hard for me to kind of like fully weigh in on that.
It's the perspective of two dummies who haven't had to experience an ounce of that.
But at the end of the day, right here, my score is, I'm playing it right down the middle, 1 out of 2.
1 out of 2. Okay. So let's add these up. Let's see. 3, 4, 9, 5, 9. Did I do that right?
We're coming back to the point where
we always hate the scores that we get. Let's see.
No, we always hate the fact that we have to add things up and do math. Well, I came up with a score of 6.3 out of 10.
I'm going to bump up my like it score to 3.2.
Interesting.
So I can, because this, if I...
What did you get before that?
It would have been a 7.4, and I liked it way more than that.
I think that last year when we did these, my scores were significantly lower, like collectively, than yours.
Oh wait, I may have done this wrong. Oh, that's why I just added it wrong.
Okay.
Let's if we keep. So I'm bad at math. That's 4.9, 5.9, 6. No, I did it right. 7.6, I guess.